Will kava cause a positive for synthetic marijuana on a drug test?
Is this a time-sensitive issue? What type of specimen are they testing?
Yes, it is time sensitive. I already took the test, and if it is going to come up positive for synthetic marijuana, I need to tell them I took kava first. I don't abusr it. I only toomk 600 mg for sleep. They specifically test for all types of synthetic marijuana, particularly looking for the metabolite 4-hydroxypentyl. Thank you, I'm worried.
Anything else in your medical history you think the doctor should know?
It is urine.
Hi, welcome to JA and thanks for this question. I'm sorry to hear about your situation. Actually, kratom or kava should not cause a false positive for marijuana. Yes, there are anecdotal reports, but they have not been confirmed in most cases. Secondly, what is more likely to be tested as false positive are opiates. Marijuana, on the other hand, even the synthetic varieties, should not show up even if you have used kava. So I think you are safe in that regard, but there are various reports of kava showing up as an opioid in many patients, and that is why I would recommend that you tell them that you have used kava if they are also looking for opiates in the test. Additionally, if you use the kava at least 3 days before the test, then it should have left your system by the time you got tested, and in that case even the chances of a false positive opiate result are less likely. Would you like to know anything else? Any clarifications or additional questions that you might have, I would be happy to answer them for you. You can continue to ask follow-up questions even after the rating.
All I'm concerned about are synthetic marijuana.
Then no, it is unlikely to show up as synthetic marijuana. Would you like to know anything else? Any clarifications or additional questions that you might have, I would be happy to answer them for you. You can continue to ask follow-up questions even after the rating.
Thank you so much. Would I have to take a lot for it to show up as an opiate? Last question. I took about 600 mg, and it was about 0 hours before test.
It depends on the strain of kratom used. Usually Asian strains are more likely to test as false positive for opiates, and usually it shows up randomly. However, some reports indicate that a false positive for opiates would occur with repeated use rather than a single-time use. A single dose of 600 mg is less likely to cause a false positive. That being said, you need to know that the pharmacokinetics and metabolism of kratom is still not completely understood, and the data regarding its exact half-life and elimination from the body is not confirmed. That is why the elimination time for kratom ranges from 3 days to 9 days. But generally speaking, it should not show up as an opiate either with a single use. Would you like to know anything else? Any clarifications or additional questions that you might have, I would be happy to answer them for you. You can continue to ask follow-up questions even after the rating.
It was not kratom, it was kava. Sorry for the confusion. Last question, I promise.
Sorry, I meant to type down kava but wrote down kratom instead. The information I have been giving you is related to kava. Kava should not test positive for marijuana or synthetic marijuana in your case, and not even opiates. Would you like to know anything else? Any clarifications or additional questions that you might have, I would be happy to answer them for you. You can continue to ask follow-up questions even after the rating. Do you have any more questions? Unfortunately, I can't take a call as I am in the hospital with no cell reception.
One more. My actual amount 800 milligrams for 3 days, stopping 60 hours before test. I didn't stop because I thought I would fail a test. It just didn't work, so I stopped. Does that multiple use make a difference? Also, should I tell them I used it for sleep, because I did, but is that common? Thanks. Plus it was kava in capsule form from grocery.
The amount is still not very high, and using it for 3 days is not classified as chronic use. 60 hours before is borderline, and it may still be in your system, but again, they are not testing for kava but rather synthetic marijuana, which it should not show up as. Regarding whether you should tell them or not, I would recommend that you do, the reason being it is better to be open about the supplements that you have been using rather than hide them. Additionally, it is a legal dietary supplement used for sleep purposes, so it would not be a problem for them. Do you have any more questions? Smile.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Best of luck. Do remember to leave a rating, as that is how we are compensated for helping you today.
If you have a health question and want to chat with a doctor now, visit justanswer.com/ythealth.